Hi, this is Michael Melcher again, and this is a continuation of our discussion of Myers-Briggs Type Indicator and type theory. Last time I gave an overview of the four types, the four dichotomies. Today we're going to talk about the first one, which relates to how we get energy. And the two dichotomy names are what we call extraversion and introversion. Extraversion describes people who get their energy from the outside world, hence the word extra. So extroverts tend to get energy from doing activities, talking to people, going to meetings, going to parties, being out and about in the world and having a variety of experiences. On the other hand, introverts get their energies from themselves or their own space. So introverts do not particularly get energy from the same sources as extroverts, but instead by being by themselves, having their own space, doing things alone, contemplating, reading, what have you. We can compare these two types. So for example, if an extrovert goes to a party, she might leave the party with more energy than she went in. Not so the introvert, who will feel wiped out. It doesn't mean the introvert's not social, it just means that going to the party uses up her gasoline. On the other hand, if an extrovert has to spend 6 hours writing a report or doing an Excel model or something, he'll typically end up exhausted by the process. On the other hand, an introvert will feel fine, completely fueled up. A lot of people think that extroversion and introversion refer to sociability, but they don't really. There is a little bit of an aspect as far as how comfortable you are going up and meeting new people, but it really doesn't have anything to do with intimacy or how much you like people. Instead, it just relates to energy. Now, the US is an extrovert-dominated culture, and the research suggests that the majority of people in the world are extroverts. The US is a little bit extreme this way. So introverts typically have to learn how to feign extroversion in order to be successful, whereas extroverts tend not to be as self-aware unless they go into a career like law, academia, or science, where introverts are the norm, and then the extroverts have to fit in. An interesting thing about extroverts and introverts is that you can have different versions of them. Again, it relates to energy, not sociability. For example, I have a really good friend who's a writer who I would call an intimate introvert. I'm sorry, a gregarious introvert, that's what I meant. So if you go to her party for a house for a dinner party, she'll have lots of people there, they'll stay for 7 hours, she'll make special cocktails, she'll wear a sarong, it'll be like this wonderful festival of good feeling. On the other hand, periodically she'll disappear from the party itself. And if you go find her, she'll be in her room playing with her cat or else listening to her iPod. What she's doing is refueling to get more energy to go back to the party. On the other hand, I know people that I would call contained extroverts. For instance, I had a personal trainer who was pretty quiet, didn't talk a whole lot, wouldn't seem to be very extroverted, but in his personal life he was always doing things like going helicopter skiing and flying out to Vail to meet friends for snowboarding and getting into bar fights. So he had an extroverted energy source, it's just that his overall affect didn't seem so loud, but he was an extrovert. So extroversion and introversion doesn't deal with sociability, rather it deals with where you get your energy. Do you fuel up by being out in the world, talking and being with people, or do you fuel up by kind of hanging out by yourself, having your own space, and maybe watching videos on YouTube? Next time, I'm going to talk about the second dichotomy, which is what we call the taking information dichotomy, so sensing versus intuition. I'll see you then.